Welcome, everybody. Good evening. We're here. We have 3 public hearings, and then we'll go into our regular agenda. So the first public hearing, notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Canton will hold a public hearing before its regular board meeting on June 14th at 5:15 at the Town Hall, 60 Main Street, Canton, for the purpose of considering a local law regulating anaerobic digester development in the town of Canton, County of St. Lawrence, the state of New York. A copy of the law has been available for public inspection in the clerk's office and on the website. The public is invited to comment during this public hearing, to view or listen via Zoom. So, Eric, do you want to just give a little brief description of it, please?
So the anaerobic digester law is designed to regulate anaerobic digesters in the town of Canton. The local law contemplates a simplified procedure for smaller digesters that are used for on-farm processing of on-farm waste to generate electricity, primarily for on-farm consumption, not completely, but primarily for on-farm consumption. It also contemplates a more rigorous process for large digesters, which consider more farmers aggregated waste from a variety of sources, turning it into biogas, and then processing that biogas into a product to commercial natural gas plant. It's I think a real opportunity for the town to develop these processes, and the local law does it based on the model that we use for wind and solar development in particular. That process will, of course, generate some costs for the town. Local law contemplates that the cost will be borne by the developers. As part of the process, we noticed the public hearing comments from Liberty Utilities, which is a local gas supplier. We received comments from the county planning department, CWL standards. So I'm curious to go forward some additional comment.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up for the public. If anyone has a comment on this proposal, I ask that you come to the podium, just so that the people on the Zoom system can hear and we can hear as well. If you could keep your comments to 3 minutes to give everybody an opportunity to express their opinion on this, that would be appreciated. And then once everybody goes through, then you can always press for the second time. So is there any public comment regarding this local law? Okay. Is there any comment from the board regarding this?
I worked with Eric on this. We've talked about it for quite a while. I've attended meetings in other townships where digesters are being proposed. Eric and I, 2 weeks ago, went to one that was operational. Did 3-hour tour. The developers were there, the on-site managers were there, owners were there, and learned quite a bit from it. However, in light of the fact that county has submitted some recommendations, as Eric said, Liberty Utilities, who would be more than likely the purchaser of any gas that would be developed from it, and also some comments from what was a potential developer. I would recommend that we extend the moratorium through the date that we've talked about, August 31st, and we can look at how to incorporate the comments that we received into the law that we have and represent it for approval at our July date.
I will vote for July.
Yeah, I mean, the comments that were made, they're good comments, but, they're, you know, they're recommendations. I mean, the county approved with concerns and some recommendations. Yeah, some of them, it's not gonna, it's gonna help the law by including some of them in it. And in order to do that, we would have to re-advertise. And it's not something that we can do here tonight and say, you know, we want to amend this. It is a law, so we'll have to re-present it after we redraft it. So that would be my recommendation here tonight.
All right, just so the board is aware, there were several comments that were made, in particular by the county, who makes a very thoughtful, well-intentioned recommendations, but some of which I just disagree with, right? And I think Jim and Bob and I, as the committee, third committee, as council, you know, we can sort through the recommendations, make the appropriate changes, and get it back to the board. Most of the requests were they were surprisingly modest, at least local law like this is not common anymore. We on this one. So
There's not one in St. Lawrence County. I don't even know if there's a local law in New York State, but they are going in everywhere. I mean, whether you know it or not, there's many, if there's, whether it's large farming, there's proposals for them at, you know, at the speed that solar is moving. So we want to get it right.
The board members, do you have any comments?
I would just add to that, I agree with that 1000%. I think we need to revisit this and take a good look at it and make sure what was suggested makes sense to the whole law.
Okay, so order of business here. And, you know, I will be reading the current one again and look forward to what the committee comes back with the recommendations. And, you know, if we have further comments after that second draft, we can certainly send them to the committee.
right, and the idea would be to get it final report in time to get it published, and have all of you in final form so we can
And I think we can do that.
Yeah, I think
we can.
one meeting.
Yeah.
For an hour and a half, whatever it takes to go through what the recommendations were. But, and I'm glad to see it because, you know, there's a lot of this going on and there's very little comment and there's very little direction. You know,
There's also very little understanding.
you know, ag and markets plays a large part in this, but try to get something out of ag and markets. Just
Okay, I am going to close the public hearing. With that being said, and so now we're going to do a second public hearing to extend the moratorium. That's proper order of business, yes, Eric?
Yes.
Okay. Notice is hereby given, the town board of the town of Canton will hold a public hearing before its regular board meeting on June 14th at 5:25. Oh, we're ahead. At the town hall, 60 Main Street, for the purpose of extending the moratorium in all anaerobic digester development in the town of Canton, county of St. Lawrence, and state of New York. Current grandfathered operations are accepted from the moratorium. A copy of this proposed law has been on file for public inspection. Having said that, is there any public comment for the town to extend the moratorium on this law? Or on anaerobic digester development? Is there any public comment? Board members, any comments?
Already said it.
So, what I heard you say, the recommendation is to extend it till August 31st,
that's
the
what reads.
moratorium.
Yeah, I mean, that's what was contained in the local law. Again, it should be the final form, someone was prior to adoption, extending that form, which is part of 7 days with all of you, so I would suggest if we're going to continue the moratorium, let's leave it August 31st. And I think that gives us, it gives us two potential board meetings before then to finalize this. I think it's.
Okay, any questions or other comments regarding this? All right. Having said that, this is on the agenda, for the regular meeting, and we can take a vote then. So I am going to close the public hearing to extend this moratorium. The third public hearing. I believe we advertised it for 5:30, so we're gonna wait until 5:30 to start it, so. Board members, I did give out document that this was.
I still have to move. I understand. Up until we changed zoning that doesn't allow for it. 3/4 of the construction, you can still get, so. With more stay. What I'm saying. So actually. We can't stop. Yeah, I can call them.
Okay, you ready? All right, public hearing number 3.
Yeah.
So. Calling this public hearing to order. Notice is hereby given by the town board of the town of Canton that pursuant to the provisions of the town law of the state of New York, a public hearing will be held at 5:30 p.m. on the 14th day of June at the Canton Town Hall, Main Street, Canton, to consider the adoption of a local law entitled Local Law Amending the Town Zoning Law and Other Land Use Laws. A complete copy of the draft law has been available for public inspection, and copies have been in the clerk's office. Notice is hereby further given that all interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard. Written comments will be accepted by the town clerk no later than 3 p.m. on June 14th. This proposed local zoning law would repeal and replace the existing zoning law and zoning map of Chapter 70 of the Town of Canton Code. The proposed zoning law implements the vision and goals of the town's comprehensive plan adopted in 2019. The proposed law provides more clarity and direction for property owners, town staff, and the planning and zoning boards. It streamlines the application review processes. It adds comprehensive and modern set of definitions and updates land management tools. It adds a comprehensive, it includes a new zoning map and revised zoning districts, but ultimately continues to protect the most rural areas of the town from rural sprawl and protect agricultural land uses while maintaining the character of the town's hamlets and more densely settled areas around the villages. Portions of the town adjacent to the village and Route 11 corridor will support a mix of land uses that transition to a more rural landscape. The zoning update provides a clear process and guidance for land use and development, including but not limited to development of a coordinated review process to ensure projects are properly reviewed for consistency with the comprehensive plan and adherence to municipal utility and infrastructure requirements and services. Added a tool to establish conservation design subdivisions as an alternate to a traditional subdivision model to protect open space, farmland, and wildlife corridors, and potentially reduce the infrastructure associated with new development. It updated the solar energy facility standards, including establishing a new, more modest tier of solar installation standards and better protection of prime farmland and soils associated with larger installations. It established a waterfront overlay to protect the Grass River, Little River, and Harrison Creek and support enhanced access to the rivers for community enjoyment. It added access management considerations for new development on US Route 11 corridor to reduce or eliminate new driveways. It incorporated design guidance for new non-residential development to enhance community character. It updated other provisions related to specific uses, off-street parking, landscaping and screening, signage, outdoor lighting, and other supplemental regulations. The proposed zoning law and zoning map can be accessed. It's been on our town website. So, Eric, is there anything we need to add?
No.
That was a mouthful right
That was
there.
a mouthful.
Yes, and I believe Monica Ryan, our River Street Development, is also online. Hello, Monica. Okay, so we are opening this up for public comment as well. I do have 3 written submissions as well. So let's start. Is there any public comment regarding this zoning law? Okay. If you could go to the podium, sir. Yeah, just if you can say your name and your address, and we're here to listen.
Tracy Sheedley, 90 Judson Street, Canton. I'm just wondering, is this zoning change going to affect our already approved solar project?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Okay, but
Because,
Tony from Soul very good contact with me. He said there wasn't anything put in to cover the one that have already been approved. This would be already approved. If we're already approved, it has no effect.
I think we're ready for that.
There's a concept in New York law called grandfathering, already approved projects wouldn't be affected by changes in the law.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheesley. Any further comment on this proposed law?
I would also like to comment if that's appropriate now.
And,
So I'm Tony Yanoni. I'm with Soul America.
okay,
I appreciate you answering Tracy's question just a moment ago. I was concerned that the proposed changes, since they do potentially affect the rules for solar projects, including projects in the zoning districts where my company's projects are located, including the one on Mr. Sheasley's property. It was just that I was concerned because our position is that because we've obtained all the required approvals and moved forward in furtherance of those approvals, that we would be substantially prejudiced by any effort to stop our projects. And that we've acquired the right to continue to build and then operate those projects. That in mind, I'd like to ask the board, just so there's no misunderstanding, to clarify that the proposed amendments are prospective only, applicable to those projects which have not received approval as of the effective date of the amendments. Truthfully, we have appreciated the hard work that the various boards of the town put forward in reviewing and approving our projects, and we continue to look forward to many years as a business operating in your community. But right now, we're hoping for just some additional clarification that, again, this amendment is prospective only. Thank you.
so Tony, I'm gonna ask that you state your full name and what your title is and where you live.
Sure. My full name is Tony Yanoni. I'm with Soul America Energy. I live in Atlanta. I'm Senior Vice President of Development for Soul America. Thank you.
Thank you. Any response to that?
I don't know how to be anyone.
It's the grandfather did.
Yeah, the law requires New York Council to already completed application with an order authorized. So grandfather set up rights associated with that. I don't know that this board, makes those kind of legal determinations, but my advice to you certainly would be that.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Comment, if that's appropriate. My name is Jonathan Geldard. I am a project developer with EDF Renewables. I'm based in Rochester, New York. Just to kind of piggyback on Tony's comment, we also have appreciated the collaborativeness of working with the town in developing our project, the Rich Road Solar Energy Storage Center project, in the town of Canton for the past several years. It's encompassed several sit-down with representatives of the town, as well as public meetings with community to receive feedback of how we could develop and design our project within the context of the existing zoning law. We've worked, as a couple examples, on site design for a road layouts, as well as visual screening mitigation that was all within the context, again, of the existing solar law. All throughout that, we've developed the application for 94C that's been submitted to the state and is currently under review. The state will not deem us grandfathered into the respective zoning application or which ones would be applying to the law until we're deemed complete, which we're not forecasting until fall this year. And so our concern is slightly unique just due to the sheer scale of magnitude, as well as just an appreciation for the progress that the town and the project have made in coming to common understanding on the various applications of specific zoning requirements to the project. Our fear is that without an express written clarification of how the new zoning law would apply to projects not under review currently by the state in a formal permitting process, it could reset the efforts and progress we've made so far, and we would potentially have to begin those conversations anew to achieve new understandings in how the project would need to potentially be modified to basically compliant to the new zoning law that we essentially had no insight to during this whole process. So We submitted written comments, and so that was the general theme of which, but please review our written letter. It speaks to some of the nuances and specific points of the zoning law that we'd like to offer for consideration.
Okay, thank you. So just for clarification, we did receive a written communication from Laura. So are you speaking on behalf, are you talking about that communication?
That's correct. Yep. That's Laura Darling with Young Summers, who's our counsel for the project. We work together to review the proposed zoning law and identify points that we felt would have a direct impact on the project and would have to be reviewed within the context of the 94C siting law, as well as a municipal statement of compliance by the town as well, without an express clarification of whether this would apply, the proposed zoning law would apply to the project or not.
And this was the communication that was received around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Our board members and attorney do have copies of it. It is a 4-page document, so I'm not going to read it for the record, but we have entered it into the record for this public hearing. So,
Thank you for consideration.
okay. Any other comment? Okay, so I'm gonna, oh, okay.
I'm Margaret Mouth, and I live at 33 James Road in Canton.
Can you put the microphone up a little bit, Margaret, please? Thank you.
I understand that the zoning board and the town board have worked diligently and with much deliberation to produce a comprehensive new town of Canton zoning code. I would assume that you are eager to finalize this project. Before there is a final vote on the code in its entirety, I would ask that you consider a proposal and reasons for a delay in regards to kennels, rescue, shelters, animal hospitals. On December 15th, 2022, New York State passed a law that regulates kennels, shelters, and rescues. It would be advantageous to learn what these new state laws are and to incorporate them into the proposed code. The definitive language in the Canton draft code is confusing and needs to be clarified. There may also be conditions that the town would want to address that are not part of the new state regulations that would be unique to the town of Canton. Kennels, rescues, and shelters must be in compliance by December 15th, 2025. On May 12th, when I spoke with the owner at Gracious Friends Animal Sanctuary in Hubleton, she was already working to come into compliance. It would be helpful to any proposal for a kennel, rescue, shelter, animal hospital to have the town and state laws consistent with each other. Doesn't it make sense to align town code laws with state regulations at this time? In consideration of the lack of clarification and the New York State Shelter Regulation, Chapter 683, I am requesting that the Canton Town Board initiate a moratorium on the draft code until substantive language regarding kennels, rescues, shelters, animal hospitals, etc., can be incorporated into new law that better protects the town. Or delay voting on the proposed code until the next board meeting in order to review the new state laws applicable to this section. Or if the code is passed, to include an exception to not put into force that section of the code until language is examined and determined to be in compliance with the state standards. So this is new information, perhaps, and I know you worked 4 years on this, but this is new information I would like you to consider. And thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Margaret did send this to me via email, and I am putting her email in the record. Any other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Leslie Clark.
Can you speak up,
Can you
please?
hear me? My name is Leslie Clark. I live at 411 Heath Road, which is in Langdon Corners near Prairie Mills. My family and I have lived there for 39 years. And I just recently realized that the home where we live will be 200 years old next year. It was built in 1824, which is almost a little amazing to me. I'm up here because I just would like to second, if you will, the proposal that you just heard by Margaret concerning the possible options regarding the zoning code section that defines kennels and shelters. For the reasons she stated, clarity and working toward the 2025 laws. Again, because they, were voted in by the state in December of 2022. So thank you for considering this proposal.
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, I'm gonna enter this into the record. This is from Ruda. Well, so I don't even know how to say your last name, but I'll spell it. And then I'll give this to the clerk. So, Ozols. This is from her. Throughout my 30+ years at 405 Mead Road. Let me stop. She's unable to be here due to another commitment. This is her statement with concerns regarding the proposed zoning code for kennels. Throughout my 30+ years at 405 Mead Road, I have dealt with annoying barking from Maple Ridge kennels. The kennel has now become a residency for a very large number of imported dogs. The barking is now ear-piercing and heart-pounding. Working in my gardens, which should be calming and enjoyable, has become nerve-wracking. The barking is so intense that it invades my home as well. A simple meal is sullied by obnoxious barking. Along with the overwhelming barking noise, fear has been introduced into our neighborhood. Before No Dogs Left Behind came to Maple Ridge Kennel, I was never afraid of dogs escaping. Even if they did escape, I knew the dogs were someone's pets and did not pose a risk. The dogs at the kennel now come from outside the United States and could have diseases that are unknown in the United States. The dogs may have been vaccinated for rabies, but that does not ensure that the dogs are free of pathogens or parasites. If the dogs are diseased, this will have negative and possibly deadly impact on our pets, livestock, and ourselves. I am not trying to be an alarmist. We are all aware how a virus from a foreign country has gravely affected our lives over the past 3 years. Recently, 2 dogs escaped from the kennel. The public has been warned not to approach these dogs. We don't know if these dogs are aggressive and/or diseased. This is alarming to me. Businesses have a right to operate and thrive. Businesses do not have the right to impose themselves in our homes and negatively impact our health and daily lives. To allow Maple Ridge Kennel, No Dogs Left Behind, to continue and possibly expand without proper noise mitigation and government oversight of their operation is very concerning. The health and welfare of our domestic animals, our wildlife, and our community is at stake. The proposed Canton zoning code regarding kennels does not address my concerns regarding the noise, environmental impact, or the health and well-being of our community. It may be in Canton's best interest to table the kennel portion of the proposed zoning code until the new Ag and Market law takes effect in 2025. The new Ag and Markets law addresses not only my concern, but also includes the proper care of animals that have found themselves in less than favorable circumstances. Should Canton pass the proposed zoning code for kennels, it could pose a liability to the town, as in the case of animals escaping that have the potential to damage property or harm to members of the community. Under the Ag and Markets Law, a kennel must abide by set rules and regulations, and it is important to note that Ag and Markets will be responsible for kennel oversight, not local municipalities. Again, I urge the Canton Town Board to seriously consider tabling the kennel portion of the proposed zoning code until the Ag and Markets Law takes effect. A lot can happen in 18 months that can have a negative impact on our community. Ruda Ozos. So I am giving that to Heidi for the record. Is there any other public comment?
Good evening, thank you. I was waiting for the general meeting, but it seems like this is a good time to speak to you. My name is Deborah Bridges. I'm at 6232 County Route 27 in Canton, New York, one of the co-owners of Maple Kennels. I wanted to come tonight to clarify our plans and address some concerns that have been recently raised. Stiles and I, as the owners of Maple Kennels, and Jeffrey Berry as the operator of the kennel, will be submitting a site plan review application for adding permitted services only to our business. Previous applications have been withdrawn to clarify the current intent to have our kennel, which has permitted uses of boarding and breeding and daily animal daycare. We wish to add the permitted according to the new zoning, if adopted, or a use variance, the new vet clinic and animal shelter. There is no proposed expansion of our facilities. There's no expansion of our capacity. It's on current property and current buildings only. The capacity questions, as I said, there's about 60 kennel spaces intended for individual use. They have now been completely enclosed for sound abatement as of yesterday. There's been improvements going on over the last couple months. There's been sound barrier fencing, enhancements to fencing that existed prior, and recently every space has been individually enclosed. And most of our neighbors have appreciated our efforts and have noticed a great difference. There's also an exercise area. An exercise tired dog is much quieter than one that is not exercised and without someone there. We've increased our staffing, so there are staff available every day, all day. It's not a situation where these dogs are left alone to be a nuisance. There was a question of transportation. Any animals coming to or leaving our facility are in appropriate vehicles for temperature and air flow. As far as diseases, all rescue animals have to be evaluated, and these animals are medically evaluated, tested, treated, and vaccinated for many more things than even our own pets. There is no disease risk from these animals. They are safer than ours. As far as waste, we do not see any impact on the waste produced by the animals at our facility. We have a 1,000-gallon septic tank that we've used for the past 40-some years in our business. Waste is collected, entered into the septic tank, and pumped out for disposal. That routine will continue. We don't see any impact on the traffic flow. We do have an additional entrance and additional parking for staff and visitors to not impact our kennel boarding flow. As far as sound, all animals are kept enclosed in the appropriate times from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I, explained some of the additional enhancements that are going on to this day. We hope that this additional information and clarification on our plans will make future discussions about us personally, about our business, and about our property to be limited to the only question that will be coming to the planning board, and that is expanding the allowed uses for vet clinic and animal shelter. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Any other public comment regarding this law?
And don't take this wrong way, but that presentation there doesn't really have anything to do with the public hearing. That is appropriate for public comment. But this is a public hearing with regard to the code. And that's what I think we should be discussing is, you know, just a public hearing.
That was zoning law.
So, but,
Point
you know,
well
when
taken.
we open it up for public comment, and everybody's welcome to comment, you know, that way, but we're gonna follow the letter of the law with regard to how we should do this. We should only be discussing the public hearing as to whether you're agreeing with the proposed law.
Point well taken. Is there any other public comment regarding this law? Board members? Okay. With that being said, I am closing this hearing, and this is on the agenda for our regular meeting. Okay, so our meeting starts at 6 o'clock, so we're going to give it a few minutes, and then we'll start our regular board meeting. All right, for those of you that just came in, welcome, and we are, I am calling the meeting to order. This is our regular monthly board meeting. It is Wednesday, 6/14. And the first item on the agenda is public comment. If you would like to have the board listen to your concerns, we're here to listen. Ask that you go to the podium, identify yourself where you live, keep it under 3 minutes. And this isn't a back and forth, we're here to listen. So I am opening up the floor now to any public comment.
Repeat my comments.
And the board would,
Oh, no, your comments were fine. I said, it's just, no, you're good.
okay.
This was more, I'm just saying, this is more the
Understood,
spot.
yes, I agree.
Yes.
Hi, Ethan Thompson, 480 Old Route 11. I just wanted to make a short comment, and I'll probably leave, regarding the codification of complete streets and how I feel about that. It was not even discussed really or continued on the agenda. Recent board meeting. To me, that was quite disappointing. I've been on that Complete Streets Committee now for a few years. And I think we've done some nice work and made some progress in the village, which I lived in up till about 1.5 years ago. My point just being that this idea of complete streets really extends beyond the village. And it's important beyond the village. It's not just about riding bikes comfortably around a tight-knit residential community. It's about riding bikes and recreating and using the roads that we all pay for outside of that and throughout the town. And while I don't live really far outside the town, when I do cycle, I go quite a ways. And I just think it's something that we at least need to consider. And I don't think we're asking for anybody to bend over backwards and make outlandish adjustments to what we're doing within the town roads, either financially or physically with them. It's just that we need to consider this as a proper and important usage of those roads beyond simply driving around.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Schrader. I live in Rensselaer Falls, and I'm here in my capacity as the chair of the Canton Sustainability Committee. And I just wanted the board to know, I saw that the Sustainability Committee is on the agenda yesterday. I don't know why it's on the agenda. We don't have any business before the board. And I reached out to Marianne and she didn't know, so she said, read out Bob, but Bob's busy man, so he hadn't got back to me. So I guess I just wanted to say that if there are any questions or concerns, then the committee is very happy to address them within the committee if we're made aware of them. And that might save the board some precious meeting time, but I don't know what it's about, so I'll just wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Just for the record, any board member can put on an item on the agenda and share the reason why this is Mr. Sanamore's agenda item. Any other public comment?
I'm Toby Irvin. I live at 810 Irish Settlement Road, Canton, and have done so for 39 years. I'm here to comment as the chair of the Complete Streets Task Force, the duly appointed joint committee between the village and the town. And I'd like to start by making a couple of comments regarding some very positive things about our community. As Ethan said, complete streets don't stop at the boundary of the village. They go well beyond, and they need to engage other communities in our area, Potsdam, Rensselaer Falls, on to Lisbon, Madrid, etc. So complete streets is not a niche exercise in what we do in the town of Canton or the village of Canton. And I have several positives here about this activity. I have the utmost respect for the highway superintendent, Stephen Smith. He has treated our discussion with great attention, and he's always been willing to talk to us when we have questions. Certainly, as a resident, he addresses questions that I ask from time to time. And I think he's doing an excellent job with the resources that he has under his supervision. Part of the problem here is that we want to foster, the Complete Streets Task Force wants to foster a better discussion between the highway supervisor and the town. Yes, we realize that they are both independently elected. However, the town supervisor and the village, and the highway supervisor can't do anything unless he has money. Where does he go for the money? To you folks. So you have the ultimate authority over the highway superintendent, and you help make his decisions, and you control it by controlling the purse. Again, Stephen is doing an excellent job. I have no difficulty addressing things with him. Secondly, you have a group of involved, engaged citizens called the Complete Streets Task Force, a group of people from the village and the town who are actively engaged in trying to do better for the town roads from the safety perspective, from the education of cyclists, from the education of students in the schools. And we're trying to present a uniform approach to our difficult road conditions. There are many difficult road conditions in this community. I realize that the board does not respond to public comment, and I'm not asking you for a response at this time, but the Complete Streets Task Force does expect to work and have communication from the board back to us when we make proposals. We have taken the position that we will give you resolutions from time to time, and we've given you a draft law that will help to codify a position of working together between the highway supervisor and the town board. If there are issues with that, we would like some specificity. We have not gotten that, and we urgently request that you give it that kind of consideration. So I have a suggestion. Since we can't meet as a board and sit with you all in discussion phases, we can meet with two of you as an assigned group to help the Complete Streets form a better proposed law. So I would ask that you consider appointing two of your members to a discussion group with us directly. I don't think that the position of discussion should ever be avoided, and that's what we see happening at this time. I would go on and say one more thing here, that there are a number of issues that are on our plate that need to be addressed by us as a task force and then by you. Thompson Court, so-called former Paper Street, will be developed soon in the next couple of years and will move in the direction of the mechanical building, the salt storage building, the unified village town building that's being proposed out in that area. Thompson Court's planning is integral to how we address approaching Route 11. We've had proposals in that regard for some time. I would encourage you to read the master trail plan again and see where that can be brought to bear on the Thompson Court plan. We expect to be actively engaged in helping you plan for Thompson Court as it affects the town and the village. We have a new problem in town. It's called electric bikes and unsupervised electronic devices that are running around on sidewalks and running up and down roads. I thought there was a helmet law for such devices. There certainly seems to be some problems developing there. We should be addressing that. We should be addressing enforcement. I've long been a champion that there needs to be more visibility of both police and state police and sheriff's department on our roads. I think that's a critical issue that Complete Streets should be working with you and those groups to address. So there's an agenda out there for the town. It's not just a niche group that works in the village. We look forward to your positive comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Toby. Any other public comment?
My name is Michael Heaney. I live at 212 Potter Road. I'm a recent, and I've lived here about 4 years after retiring from Texas A&M. I am a dog lover. I've had dogs for the last 30 years. But as a dog lover, I must tell you, I'm completely opposed to this concept of importing dogs from other nations that are homeless. We have plenty of homeless dogs here already. And bringing other dogs in does nothing to help get those dogs that are already here and homeless adopted out. So that's that. No dogs left behind here. Arrived, well, had dogs arrive here, I believe sometime in late winter or early spring, and it was off to the races. They came with no registration with ag markets. They came without permits. So essentially they came hoping to get permitted, I guess, to do this. And that seemed to me right off the bat to be a little ahead of yourself. And it was reason for concern. Some of the other concerns are the noise. I used to sort of poo-poo, the thought of the noise being really disruptive till I went to Leslie's house one afternoon, and it was, in fact, incredible. Not only was it loud, and this is the interesting part of this to me. It wasn't just loud. It was a cacophony of different voices. I don't know how else to explain this, but there's no, they don't just bark exactly the same. So there's all these different, it's like a pattern of noise. And honestly, the two women that I was there with, you could see that they were physically affected by this. And when the barking started, you could hear it in the house with the doors and windows closed. And I could just see a change come over. And it was then I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe what they've been living with. This is ruining their lives. The feces. If we assume a pound of dog a day, 100 dogs, which is half the stated goal, of the proposal that has been declined, that would be 36,500 pounds of canine fecal matter. Now, we've been told variously how this is going to be taken care of. I was told first that it was going to be composted. And you can do that, that works, but it doesn't work in the winter. Then on the proposal that has been declined by the county planning board, the proposal states that it will be picked up by Casella, which is better than just laying around and getting rained on and having it, make its way into the watershed. But if that's true, it's still not taking care of it because, the act of Canton upping its load on the landfill is, well, that's sort of self-centered. And, what you probably most of you told your kids at some point, what if everybody did that? So that's a concern as well. Now I'm told that it's going to be processed on site. If they can do that for 200 dogs, maybe that's better, I don't know, but these are still concerns. The urine, I can't tell you what the effect on the watershed of the urine would be. But that's a lot, if you have 100 dogs, half the stated objective, that's going to be a lot of urine, a lot of potassium. What that does to Grannisbrook and Boydenbrook, which is on the east and the west side of this property, I don't know. You'll know when it happens. And if it happens, then you'll know it'll be too late. We live in a pastoral setting. That's one of the things this town has going for it. That what's happened out there now is really turning into, in my opinion, a bit of an eyesore. And I doubt it's doing anything for their neighbors' property values, as well as the noise and all the other stuff. The property values have got to take a hit for this.
Could you wrap it up a little bit?
What's that?
Can you wrap it up?
Yes, I can.
You're over your allotted time.
What's that?
You're over your allotted time.
Oh, okay. Well, I would have thought that this was, well, let me just say this. No Dogs Left Behind in Canton is just a bad fit. And I think entering a long-term relationship with it would be foolhardy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Other public comment? Being said, we're going to continue with our agenda and then go from there. The next item is county legislative representative update. We did not get anything in writing from our representatives, and they're not here that I can see. Okay. Approval of minutes. I need a motion to approve 4 sets of minutes. The joint meeting on 3/23, special meeting on 5/2, joint meeting on 5/4, and regular meeting on 5/10. However,
I did find an error before the board meeting on the May 2nd one, but I need to correct.
okay, so we'll table the special meeting May 2nd. Is that's the one? Okay. Okay, so Heidi did notice that there is an error, so we'll table that till the next meeting. So I need a motion for the 3/23, 5/4, and 5/10. Is there a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carry. Okay, correspondence. We have a few here. The first one is we received a letter from Excellus Health Insurance. Is the proposed requested premium rate change of an increase of 9.7% for health insurance. As we know, this is every year, then we get these numbers. And Excellus requests the change to the New York State Department of Financial Services. And we get this notice, and then, it's dated May 23rd. We received it on June 2nd, and we have 30 days to respond. So every year I write a letter on behalf of the town that we oppose this increase. So if anyone has any further concerns about that, I will be sending a letter again. Okay. The next one is Angelina Black from the St. Lawrence Health Initiative. She's the Action Program Coordinator. She's inquiring if the town wants to do a joint sun protection policy with the village. The village is moving forward with that. She has sent us some samples, but before I wanted to move forward or not move forward, I need the board's input. Are you interested in doing a joint policy with the village of Canton for sun protection? What this allows is if we do have a policy, there is funding available where we can get some supplies for our departments, but it's basically to prevent cancer. So she reached out to me. I just would like a general feeling on if you're interested, if you want to pursue this, or, you know, we do have joint policies with the village on other issues. What do you think?
Is there any reason not to?
For me, my view is, so the village has the beach, right, and the DPW and recreation. However, the highway department, they're out in the sun all the time. So to do a joint one, it's gonna take some time and work. The village, I think, is gonna just wanna move forward individually, but I did let Angelina know that I would be bringing this to the board tonight and then get back to her. I did speak with Mayor Dalton regarding this, and again, you know, sometimes it's just better that we do our own policies, not necessarily a joint policy on this. We could still benefit, I think, from it, but
So are they gonna do something before our next year?
I don't know, I can find that out. I think it's our next joint meeting at the end of July. Do you want me to go back and ask, that we put this on the joint meeting?
Yeah, I mean, most joint policies that always been addressed at a joint meeting. Makes sense.
Okay, I can do that. All right, the World University Games, they did send us a thank you card for being part of that, as well as a picture for the town. So that was a fun thing, that was a positive thing, so I'm just gonna pass that around. We did get a thank you for being part of that event. The FEMA determination memo. I don't even know where to begin. In January of 2021, we submitted $7,509.45 for reimbursement for COVID expenses. This was in January of 2021. We submitted personal safety supplies expenditures, envelopes, purchase of a webcam, Zoom costs, Zoom costs and laptops. $7,500 back in January of 2021. After several emails, calls to and from Marty Hassett, and after several letters required justifying our expenditures, they have denied $47.14 and 35 cents. They have denied $4,700 worth of requests, and we would be getting, since January of 2021, $2,795.10. We can appeal that determination, but I have to be honest in saying, we have spent so much staff time above and beyond the $7,500. It just, I'm asking the board, do you want us to appeal it? My recommendation is no. Because it's beyond, and I did respond to them that I felt that this was my response to them. And because we have an appeal process, I just said, good afternoon, the town does not give authority to remove the items. We submitted what was necessary to conduct town business during the COVID pandemic. The town board made the necessary and difficult decisions for the safety of our employees and the public. I couldn't be more proud of our staff, our board, and municipal partners in this response to the pandemic. While I appreciate all the work that has been put into this submission since January of 2021, it is truly discouraging given the small amount of money we're requesting. So I guess I need board direction. Do you want me to spend more time appealing this? I'm very frustrated with it all, actually. I just recently, in the last month and a half, had to send letters to FEMA on some minor things. So if you want me to put in an appeal and spend more time on this, when we have more pressing items, I'll take the direction of the board, but my position is to just let it go and just accept that $2,700. So if you want to think on that, come back to me, let me know. But I'm very frustrated.
That's it, let it go.
Let it go? Okay. Everybody good with that? You know, and we were recently asked, well, not recently, maybe 3 months ago, to put in for FEMA funding through the county for the snowstorm. Speaking with Stephen, we really didn't have the expenses that we would spend more time doing all that work to put into the county, to put in for FEMA. And when I asked the county, well, will we get our full amount back? And the answer is no, get a portion back. So it's just very frustrating. So, okay. They don't. The Zamboni. Okay, so that's correspondence. The next item is our town finances report. Angela, hello.
Good evening. So to you for the May figures, 5 months ended for the year. As you look across the summary sheet, you will notice that each fund is in the surplus. As I go through the detail of each of these reports, the spending is where we would expect it to be at 5 months through the year. The DADD has in the D, let me just go there real quick. In the DA fund, you'll see the percentage of personal services well exceeds 5/12. However, in DB, the expenses there have not yet started to come in. So this is the same exact ratios where we were in May of last year. So I just want to draw your attention to that. The other item I would like to draw your attention to is in the general fund, looking at page 1 of the white sheet of paper. Fines and forfeitures, which is about 8-9 lines down, account A1042. We have collected $21,000 year to date in the town of Canton, and I bring this to your attention because I remember the discussions that we had during the budget season of using this number to support the appropriations, but also really bring the budget to balance. I would like to point out that at the same time last year, the collections on this line were $42,850. So it's a significant variance year over year. And then when we stand up about 30,000 feet, we look at the total revenue that we know and can reasonably expect to come into the general fund versus the expenditures to go out. I would estimate that we need about 30 to 40,000 more dollars to come in on this line, in line with that budget number, which would still be below budget. We have a budget here where the revenue equals the expenditures, and so in order to support those expenditures, we need the revenue to come. So that is one area that I would continue to monitor. We are 5 months through the year, so arguably maybe early, but that is one we should go back. And then the last page is the cash, and you can see the balances there year over year. We do have a slight increase of cash. The special purpose cash total remains roughly the same year over year, and 20% of our cash is for special use. Any questions?
I would just like to add that we did do a refund of escrow funds to the Soul America Judson Street project in the amount of $51,509.40. We did process that. So what you're going to be seeing as these projects progress, by law, we need to give back the escrow fund. So you know, we're still sitting on $369,000 investment money that'll slowly be falling down in Lawrence phase 2. So I just want to hand this to you, Heidi, so that's part of the record. I know it was in the audit discussion this afternoon. But when you look at those abstracts, that is not on there. So. Any other questions or comments regarding our finances? All right, thank you, Angela, much appreciated. Audit committee.
I have this on first.
Oh, why do I do these?
I'm sorry. Okay, so we did work through the month of May for the town clerk, major areas of collection in May were tax revenue. And then we also have the fee revenues. Everything is balanced and it is set to be paid out, and most of it already has, to the respective agencies, and the town's revenue for the month of May from the town clerk would be $2,100.
Heidi, would you like to add anything to that? Okay. Anyone else? Very good. Okay, audit committee.
Ready, Heidi? General fund A, $34,244. Town outside B, $3,506.35. DA highway, $10,851.52. DB highway, $12,326.06. Special fire, $58,650. Special lighting, $271.47. Trust and agency, $25,204.21.
Any questions, comments? I need a motion to approve the expenditure. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Any further questions, comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carried. Okay, department reports. I'm gonna ask department heads, please go to the podium so we can hear you and the people on Zoom. I know Linda, so we're gonna have Heidi go first, and then you.
May was really busy. Don't really have too much to add to my, I don't have anything really to add to the report that was submitted, just that I'm done collecting taxes and just waiting to close out the counting. Once we do that, we'll have in their checks and what they have. So, any questions?
Okay, Linda, would you like to go to the podium? No. Okay. We just can't hear, and the people on Zoom can't hear, so that's why we need you to do it.
Okay, first of all, do anyone have any questions about my report? Well, Frank White's 150th birthday party last night was a huge success. I didn't count the people that were there, but it was amazing to give him credit for his 150 years of life and what he has done for the community. So I was very pleased with that. People went through the rooms, which they have not done before. So that was a special event. What I want to say about my report, AV has put us on this OneDrive. Does anybody else have to use OneDrive as a project? That's been very hard for me. That's why it's late. Last week's I put in the drafts because I wanted to read it over. And I found out on Monday that town clerk and Mary Ann did not give me a report because I had it in the drafts. So I'm having a really hard time with OneDrive. AV has put it on and I can't take it off. So I just wanted to know if anyone else was dealing with OneDrive. So that's why my reports are late sometimes. And sometimes I do work on Friday And I feel badly that I don't get it in by noon. If I could have the day Friday to get in there. Otherwise, we're very busy over there. I don't have the days that I used to have, like upstairs. People seldom came up there. And every day people are coming in and I have to disrupt them to be with them. It's not disruption, I like to live with them. So I'm sorry, my report's always. What I want to say.
All right, thank you, Linda.
Okay.
Mike?
I know it.
You knew it.
I know.
You knew it.
What's that? Yeah, I got
Mike, talk in the mic, please.
Did you hear me? Did everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. Here. Anyhow, month of May was very busy in my office. Through the month, I issued 20 building permits for the town of Canton. From residential additions to garages to decks to signs to roofs. One new residential new construction, which was the first this year actually, and one manufactured home. The one project, finally, after 3 long years, we finally issued one building permit for the Judson Street project for solar. No, they have not picked up the building permit yet, but it has been issued. So that's so that's a lot. And I did receive another permit this week for the County Road 27 project. So they're starting to come in. It's a lot of work. We still need a lot of paperwork to issue the permits, but it's finally, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. To answer Tony's question on the rezoning or the rezoning code, it's 162 pages, but there is something in that book that says about projects or things that are being worked on the previous code. It's in there somewhere. I just have to look at it tomorrow. As always, issued 4 work without permits. It's kind of a common thing lately. My wife is having dinner at the cantina tonight with other teachers for end of the year. So I took her up to 68 to see the dogs. And on my way back on Little River Road, what do I see? Somebody's building a house. Don't have a permit. You know, what are you gonna do? Just, it's just.
You just stop there.
She wanted to, but I didn't. I wanted to get back here to not miss this meeting.
So maybe tomorrow.
You weren't under hours.
I wasn't in Morley either. So anyhow, I did a couple other things through the month. I worked Fair Housing Task Force. We had to go through a 248-page document to pick out keys for housing issues in New York State. That had to be in by June 8th. Attended the county IDA building for the pilot agreements for Judson Street, State Highway 310 and Route 11. I was the only attendee, so attended a Zoom meeting with the committee for biodigesters and the ERIC. Received correspondence from ADF. Reminder, there's a day you could get it back to me. EDF would like us to take a tour of a sheep farm up in Canada. It's going to be on June 29th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Just get a hold of me and let me know if you'd like to come. I do have 3 or 4 people already going to attend. I think it'd be interesting to go see a farm in operation with solar, with grazing, to see. So just get a hold of me and I can let them know. Other than that, that's all I have. Yes, Jim.
On new building permits, I see generator. Somebody's putting in a standby generator for their home.
Yep,
It requires it
yes, it requires,
because it's going in the electric.
it's going into the electric, yes, sir.
So I have a question.
My time limit.
So for
I forgot to set the timer.
So you have found 4 projects that haven't gotten a permit. Do you feel that there's probably a lot more out there
Oh, absolutely.
of people not following the law?
Yeah,
Or
I mean-
coming to see
I
you
mean-
before they,
Cindy, oh, on the other, I forgot, I helped Heidi and Cindy with 3 FOIL requests too. Cindy the other day asked me to go to Cousintown Road. Cousintown Road is between Canton and DeKalb. So I was looking for an address that she gave me. 128, 159. So I'm looking and I had to go down a beaten path and what I call an old hunt camp. She had a picture of that. Well, before that, on the road, right on Cousintown Road, there's a house. Nothing. No, she didn't have nothing. I didn't have nothing. I mean, it's,
I mean, a house that's been there, not newly built, which
oh,
just,
who knows when it was built?
okay. But there was no record of it anywhere of that house being there.
Was that 160?
One that's down in the woods.
Yeah, down in the.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's just not, it's not just here, put it that way. I mean, I had the same problem in Dublin. It's just, you know, what's a piece of paper? You know? Yeah, it's an ongoing thing. The one tonight, I just. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Any other questions or comments?
thank you.
Thanks, Mike. All right, Cindy?
Hi, good evening. I'd just like to thank Linda for throwing Frank White's birthday party. I've never been to a 105-year-old birthday party, but you did a great job, Linda. I think everybody had a good time there. And he was interviewed by the press for like 20 minutes and he's so sharp. I mean, he was answering the questions. It was a little, slow on some questions, but he, for the most part, he was keeping up with that guy. So it was amazing. So, thanks, Linda. Okay, looking at my report, the corrections were handed in to the county, and I updated my file tonight, and everything has been entered. So I think they're going to be running my final roll for 2023. So we should be getting that any day now, hopefully. There was some questions on one of the properties was Walgreens, and it's in the village, and it was bought by this property owner. I'm not naming names, but there was a 485B, there was an exemption on the property. And I guess from my years back in Horseheads, I remembered when the property was lowered and there was an exemption in process, you had to adjust the exemption because it comes down at 5% increments for 10 years. It's a 10-year exemption. So it was issued in 2018 and it expires in 2027, I believe. So anyway, so I readjusted it. I sent down my paperwork to the county and they go, what is this? And I said, you have to readjust the exemption. They're like, no, we don't agree with you. Okay, hold on. I'm going through all my opinions of council and everything. I'm like, I know I've done this before. I did it with the town attorney in Horseheads, and we sat together with the calculator and figured out the exemption. So I found the opinion, I sent it down to them, they go, you're right. So. So, anyway, I felt good about that. Anyway, all right, so as you know, the equalization rate is dropped now to 74. We're looking at our enhanced star exemption that went up some because the state raised it. So the enhanced star is going to be 70,000. as the exemption, and the basic star is gonna be 25,800. That dropped on the basic star. So you guys will see it on your school tax bill, or if you get a check from the state, then you'll see, you know, the difference in the amount and everything. I did document out how to get into SDGs. I don't know if anybody has done it. If you have any questions, if you come to me, I'll be happy to answer the questions, right? It's pretty straightforward and everything. And that's it on my report. I did this last week, I got from the county, the 9/11 list for St. Lawrence University, the addresses. So they didn't have a column for the tax map numbers. So I wanted, and a lot of the numbers were like slash numbers. They were issued for each building. So I made a column and I matched up the building, the address, and the tax map number on there. And I got like 8 buildings to collect. And so I'm working on that. That's like 2 days to work on this week. So if anybody needs to look, you know, and there was a couple of streets that they had named, Scarlet and Brown Drive was out there. And so I just updated my RPS file and made, you know, changed the addresses to that, because it said like off Park Street. So like, where is this? So now I'm matching to the 9/11 address corrections. So that's it. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions? All right,
Yeah.
thank you, Cindy.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen.
Hello, everyone. Pretty much business as usual for us at Highway Department, getting ready for paving. We're pretty much ready, other than soup coat is coming next week. I just heard yesterday afternoon to start grinding. So Monday, Tuesday, we'll have that done hopefully. And then we are ready for paving. The crew changed over 440 feet of culvert in like 2 weeks, so they stayed right after it pretty good. We've cut a lot of shoulders on the roads that we'll be working on, getting ready, so we're pretty much there for whenever the county comes. Our cat loader did sell on auction time. We put in the counter offer, went for $70,000. Originally last year we looked for 80, but after looking at it with the 10% buyer's premium, we felt the machine was worth 80. That put it to where the buyer ended up at 77,000 with our 70,000. So it kind of puts it at its value. Hard to go higher at 80. It would have put it to where no one probably would have bought it.
Still 20,000 more than what we were going to be allowed for it on a trade-in.
Yeah.
So it's still different.
Correct.
Right, it would have been, if it sat there, it would have been worth even less than out here.
Yeah, it was, you could see deterioration from last fall to present. So it's good that it's found its new home.
And we got the check today from Auctions International, so. good week.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
Put that right in the road,
we'll put that where?
right in the roads.
Oh, right into the roads, yeah.
we can do that. That's not a problem.
You guys, it went right into the accounts.
So I filled out the forms for the first round of chips to send those in. We should be expecting around $281,157.58 for the first round of 2023 reimbursements, which once we start construction and we can get to the next round, leaves us $240,902.67. That should be eligible for this year for reimbursement. So we should see that by around the 29th of June. That should be back, so that can get put back into the accounts. And we did open the Minor Street Road bids, but see that's on the agenda, so that'll be talked about then. Michael's has moved out of 12 Styles Avenue. June 1st, we took back possession of the piece of property. Mary Ann came up and did an inspection with us, so thank you, Mary Ann, for coming up and walking the property with us and looking inside of the building over. And It's a few minor little things that need to be taken care of, but it's kind of insignificant, really.
We took, before pictures, before they moved in, we got that all taken care of, and now we have after pictures, so.
There's one overhead door that has some damage to it, and maybe not quite as clean as what it was when we left it, but we didn't anticipate it to be like spit shines.
Where are we in discussions with Liberty about getting natural gas to that?
I've got the contracts on the desk at the office. It's just under $2,000 to have natural gas put in. Like $1,980 would be the final price.
Committee won't be long recommending that.
Okay.
What did you just say?
Committee won't be long recommending that. I mean, what is in there is, I mean, granted, we're gonna have to convert it to.
Yeah, we'll have to put a different heating system in to
But
get there, but I believe it will pay for itself very fast.
Very fast. Very.
What's in there for heat plant now?
Oil fired boiler.
That's efficient.
Probably
50%
30 years old.
You really need to see it to believe it.
It
Yeah.
looks like something from the Munsters.
Yeah, you got, if you take down 100 gallons, you gotta hurry to get back, so it'll tank back up, get the other 100 back down there, it's really cold.
That's outstanding.
If anyone has any questions, if not,
Just a comment, Eric, I want to thank you for all the due diligence that you did with that agreement. What was it, 4 years ago with Lakos and, the committee, and, that was a good thing for the town. It really was. We helped Michaels out, but we also helped the taxpayers out with getting that rent. So that was a journey. That was a journey, and, a lot of work was put into that, but 4 years ago, we didn't have that property, and now we're moving forward, we're making progress. So it just took a little time.
we've already pretty well filled the yard up right now. We can finally have some stockpiles of material, and we've kind of grown it already, but.
And I know the neighbors are gonna be really excited when that sand pile is moved. That Karen lady got me yesterday at the party. She goes, I can't wait. She wants to get a picture before.
Yep.
And her beach is gonna be gone.
She said that she's lived there since 1992, and it'll be the first time she could have her windows open.
Yeah,
So
so. All
I'm
right,
sure she is excited.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Okay, Megan Richardson could not come. I believe I sent to the board her final, an additional comment about Taylor Park. But any questions on her report? Oh, here it is. Okay, she's not able to attend the board meeting. The only update she had is Taylor Park Beach open to the public on June 10th. The beach is currently open on weekends and holidays. Full-time hours begin on Monday, the 26th. The hours of summer are from noon to 7 every day. Okay, and we contacted you that she couldn't be here as well, so. Okay, so I need a motion to accept the department reports.
You do have,
Yeah, Lee couldn't make it today.
all right, so we just got.
You do have her report, we have the court report, so is there a motion to accept the department reports? I'll second. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carried. Committee reports. Who would like to start?
Communications and technology. That just passed Monday. And we started filling out this design question for the website. We each were assigned a couple tasks, right? And we're all report back by email the 20th, which is next week. Then we're hoping our kickoff meeting with Revises will be on the 28th. We have our regular scheduled communication and technology.
Hopefully we can get everything, as long as we can get everything submitted by Friday. Next Friday. Should be able to have that.
Great. That's that.
And then just to add though, we are still For the people who have a difficulty time hearing, we are discussing the acoustics down here, just so people know that we are trying to work on that.
Still, that's a problem.
Yeah, so, but we are working on it.
Other reports? Well, just an update on the insurance committee. We did meet with the unit, the CSEA union. There was a presentation about looking at the different plans. And the update is, the union is not interested in changing. So I think that's important.
You said-
The union is not interested in changing. Insurance at this time. Okay, any other committee reports? I did attend the Complete Streets Committee meeting. Randy was out of town, so I did attend on his behalf, and really, I said, well, you had the agenda for this. So, when I'm record that I attended that meeting. Any others? Okay, old business, the housing fund. So, as you know, a while ago, I informed the board that we are, since 2013, we have been sitting on $46,937.89. We have no record of anything except receiving it. Housing Council doesn't have any record. We've looked at this. It just breaks my heart that we're not doing anything with this housing money. And I emailed the board, and I am proposing that we utilize this funding to help offset the cost of the Minor Street project. When we hear the bids that have been put in for this project, and then we look at the grant, which is a reimbursable grant, we're gonna be short some money. We're gonna have to take money out of the fund balance. And I think because of the project, this will help families with their housing and the what's going on with the replacement of the culverts and the drainage. Right, and the drainage. I think this is a good.
Drains out there, is that correct?
You know, so, you know, I don't have a tally of the total number of houses out there, but to sit on this money this long, and we haven't done anything with it, is heartbreaking for me. We need to help families. And, you know, Bob, I know that you brought some information that you would like to share with the board. You made copies. And so I'll let you present your case, and then we can continue the discussion.
So my understanding is this is CDBG money, at one fashion or another. And the concern I have with this is if we use it for that, and I think it's a great use for it. I'm not telling you it's not a great use or suggesting it's not. What I'm suggesting is I don't want us to get into trouble, because the way the CDBG grants work is they have to be for low to moderate income individuals. That's how they have to work. And I don't know if we can make that argument here. I'm questioning that. And if we use it for that, we may get into some hot water for that. So I want to be sure that that is the right use for it. And I understand we're not sure exactly where the money came from, but my understanding is everybody's telling me that this, in some fashion or another, that it did originate from CDBG.
So who gave you that information?
HUD for one thing, but it came from planning also, the county planning office.
So the county
they
planning
directed me-
office,
They directed me to that. Right.
but they know about this money that the town of Canton received. Do they have any records?
They don't have the records, no.
Okay,
No,
so,
no. But either way, I guess I'm still not comfortable using it for that reason. So,
I guess I would argue
that's okay.
that, since I've been here, this is my 6th year, nobody's come knocking on our door saying, would you do that money, or where is it? And if there's no record of anyone says it's been received, of coming knocking on our door, or auditing this pot of money. And,
Technically, we are helping people out in their homes.
But the key is low to moderate income. That's the key. I understand that, and I agree with that.
In your research, did you find out how much, what that is we're talking about? What's the cutoff?
The thresholds. I can get you the threshold number.
I would like to see that.
I guess, in my mind, can we table this until I get at least that number? Before we stick our neck out there and spend money that we shouldn't be spending in the location where we're spending it? I mean, it's a safe, it's better. than-
I mean, it's been 10 years, so,
I
waiting
right.
another month, I have no
Right.
problem with that. But I guess I would ask Stephen, of the households that are on the Minor Street project, that mile and a half, and then thinking about those residents, I believe there are some that are retired. So I'd be really curious as to what the cutoff is.
That's why I wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah,
threshold this, because we might be able to make an argument.
Right, and if we can, that's fine. I'm not saying that that I need to spend it for that. I just want to make sure that it crosses all the Ts.
Believe you me, it's amazing that we don't have records.
Yeah.
So that's why records management is so important.
I don't have a problem with tabling yet. I don't have a problem with getting in trouble. Bad in trouble. My feeling is that if we take it and use it for what you recommended, that means that's 46,000, that's less that's coming out of fund balance. If we weren't gonna use this money, we're gonna take that 46,000 out of fund balance. We're gonna do this project on Minor Street Road, it's gonna happen. So whether we could use the 46,000 or not, to me, is immaterial. And if we get slack because we weren't supposed to use that, well, then we gotta put 46,000 back in this account, let it sit there forever. And we'll just have to take the 46,000. But I don't have,
I just asked Sean that. I get our hand slapped, we just have to put the money back.
yeah, I mean,
I just asked Sean that exact question.
It's unfortunate that when I hand out money like this, that it can't give us a little bit of direction. What we can do when it sits there that long untouched. It's almost like that, fund balance and special, like. Yeah, that's still sitting there.
So Bob, are you thinking that if we spent it and it was supposed to be for low to moderate income, that there's a group out there waiting for us to spend it to check on us?
Could be.
Is that what you're thinking? But as long as it's sitting there, they're not gonna check on us until we spend it.
You never know who's paying attention.
Eric,
I
do you
guess
have any
I'd
thoughts
rather,
on
I
this?
guess I'd rather be on top of it. So,
Yeah, I got this, I haven't got it. So I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. It makes me a little nervous to spend nothing about the idea of poker. But that's basically what it is.
Is there a way that we could actually find out what the requirements are though? We know what that.
I can get the thresholds. I already said that.
No. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But we don't know what the money is actually is CDBG. We just suspect it is.
There's no records, so. Yeah. Okay, well,
If it gets us some direction, that's good. We haven't got any in a long time.
Maybe just spend a little of it, see if anyone.
There you go.
Say, wait a minute.
Just, I say, let's take them up and let Bob find out what the threshold.
Well, that's true. I mean, I agree with that. I'm
And
just
then
saying.
we'll revisit this next week. Take a bite
Okay,
of the
I'm not-
biscuit, see if there's any poison in it.
we
I'll let
we
you
need
take the
to
bite.
help families. Okay, the next item, everybody good with that? All right. The next item is the ARPA funds. Okay, so y'all have the report. We submitted, with the assistance of Angela to the federal government. We haven't heard anything back yet. on our expenditures. I'm hoping that we won't. So, you know, we received a total of $434,000, $665.36. We have spent pretty much all of it. And the remaining funds are $17,822.12. So the board, we need to think about, I just assume do something with that money so that we can wrap that all up. The beauty about the ARPA funds is they gave us the money up front. But we submitted the reports, but I'm just hoping that nobody says, well, you can't spend the money on that, and then we have to like really look at that. But I think we did an excellent job. You know, we purchased jointly the ice resurfacer for recreation. We did a broadband study for the village and town. We did Atlantic testing cost for 64 Main Street, which both the town and village now own that. We purchased 12 Styles Ave with ARPA money, and we closed out on the 64 Main Street purchase. So, you know, and hearing about some other projects around whatever, and some of the things that the money was spent on, we did our due diligence and we did the best thing for the time. So we need to think about what we should do with that 18,000 that's left. Any questions on that? Okay, number 3, the Eco Adapt workshop. Mike participated. It was a 3-day online workshop. It was supposed to be in person, but that didn't happen. On climate change, the impact of climate change and climate adaptation. There is a final report that is in the packet of the Eco Adapt workshop. But what I'd like you to really look at is the data of how warm we're going to be getting in the years to come. Mike, did you find that pretty interesting? All that data is in there. So, you know, I think I certainly benefited from that workshop. And anytime we do a project or we're just having general discussions, we have to think about climate change. And how
I wish
to
it was
adapt.
in person.
I'm sorry?
I wish it would have been in person.
Yeah. It was pretty
It was
good.
nice.
It was pretty good. So the final report is out. It is in the packet. I encourage you to read it and just bring that to the forefront of everything we do. And look at what we're experiencing. Okay? Okay. Under new business, what we need to do for the zoning law is complete the secret part 3. Let me push this over here. Get this back here. And is Monica still on?
I hear you.
Okay. All right. So here. Hi, Monica. Okay. So we did the part 1 and part 2, and the part 3 is the determination of significance. You all have a copy of that. So basically, it's a description of everything. Monica, do you want to just say a little bit about part 3, or Eric?
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Wait a minute,
Monica, you wanna
Monica.
go ahead?
Okay.
I'm sorry?
You want to just briefly describe the part 3 secret?
So part 3 is actually the determination of significance. Part 3 is actually the third part of the seeker full environmental assessment form that you complete after you did your seeker review exercise at your last meeting. This is the portion of the form that you complete to acknowledge that because you had findings of no significant environmental impacts as part of part 2, you would then, your findings would be that there was, you know, this is a negative declaration in that there are no significant environmental impacts assumed to be possible with this zoning update. So you're completing part 3, and then the determination of significance is the narrative that goes with that to talk about each of the items that you determined as part of part 2. So there's the narrative and there's the actual part 3 of the form. So you're adopting or you're approving, if it's satisfactory, you're approving that determination. And there's a resolution for that determination of non-significance and, approval of that narrative. So there should be, those are the actions you would be taking.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm clear that we need to vote on this actual form there, Monica, right?
Yeah, the form is just basically you're completing the form, you're checking the negative declaration, and then, right, that activity is fairly clerical, where you're basically, that's the form. And then once all of that's done, we would need to notify DEC through their environmental notice bulletin that you have conducted seeker and your findings and that you've issued a negative declaration. So that's the last step, but there's not, that's basically the nuts and bolts of your actions.
Okay, so that's your guidance. So it's just a basic vote.
Yeah.
So you're of the resolution. Do you have the resolution?
Once the resolution is adopted, then you decide the part.
Okay. I have those other 2 resolutions, but I guess I wasn't. I thought we already did those.
Well, the resolution goes on.
Sorry, Eric.
The resolution would go as follows. Whereas the town of Canton Town Board has introduced a local amendment to Canton Code by new chapter 70 by replacing it with new chapter 70, where state law specifies the actions governed by local environmental and remediation shall be that local agency which has primary responsibility for the action. Whereas the town board and the town can't declare itself the agency for the environmental reviews of local law. Whereas the town reviews this project is a type 1 action within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, whereas based on its consideration of the project, the environmental assessment form and all the information to the action was project that the adoption of law and the criteria set forth in 6 NYCR 617.7. Town of Canton Town Board is the agencies that identify and analyze the relevant areas of environmental concerns to determine whether the proposed action may have a significant adverse impact on the environment. Therefore, it is resolved that the town board hereby finds and determines that the proposed project will not have a significant adverse environmental impacts, any adverse impacts on the environment, and therefore there should be a negative declaration of environmental significance pursuant to seek reasons set forth in these acts determinations. All by reference and those of which are related.
That is the resolution. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Thank you for doing that there. Second by Jim Smith, moved by Bob Sandamore, second by Jim Smith. Any further discussions, comments? I would just like to, again, thank you, Monica, for all the work on this, and Eric and everybody else involved. This has been a 4-year process, 162-page conclusion. So for this piece, we really had to do all this, right? All in favor? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried, okay, so just for clarification. I need to sign this, this form, get it back
Yep,
to you.
and then you keep all of that in a, I will get your EMB submitted. There's, you don't have to give me anything. That, along with the part 1 and 2, and that determination should all be, and the resolution should all be kept together and all has to be filed with the town clerk and kept as part of the record for this zoning update, because it is part of the process. So you want to keep that all together, filed with the clerk. You don't have to submit it to DEC. They just want to know that you're just letting DEC know you did a seeker action. All type 1 actions require notification to DEC. So that's, and I'll copy you on that, so you know that that went in, and you'll have a copy of that to include with your records. But beyond that, everything is kept in your house. So you're the keeper of the seeker documents. Should anything come up, you know, legally challenges, whatever, you know, that's part of the record. So that you want to keep that with your important town clerk filings on this whole process.
Great. And Eric, you can send that resolution to me. And then just put on the bottom, make sure you put her name, her signature, for the sign, yeah. All right, whew, okay. So there's that. Next item on the agenda is to discuss the proposed zoning update law. We've had a public hearing. I'm going to open it up to the board to now discuss. If we're moving forward and adopting the laws, we do have 2 resolutions to that effect. So I'm going to open it up for discussion now. Who would like to start? Anybody?
We'll start now. The public hearing, we heard concerns on 2 items. One, the solar part of it, and the other, the kennel part of it. I'm wondering if Bill Buchanan, our solar attorney's on, I'm wondering if he would comment on the concerns with regard to the solar part. And I don't know if Monica wants to weigh in on the concerns about the kennel part or not, but one way or the other, I guess it's up to them.
I can go first on my general weigh in on the solar projects. Mike mentioned that there is something in the law there. So what's in the law right now is anybody that has that has a building permit can move forward. That language is in the code. You can put in additional language, and I've certainly put it into codes when the community has felt it's important, to also have language that any project that has other approvals, site plan approval, et cetera, that site plan approval can constitute, like that those projects can move forward as well. It's not in every code. It's currently not in yours. So if you've pulled a building permit, that's in there, but not approval of site plan or something of that nature. So that language could be added. With regard to Ridge Road, I'm less familiar with where you are in the process, but it sounded like to me you're not at that point, so that wouldn't cover that. So I'll defer to your attorney on that, but that seems like that's one of that would be a different language, and I know you were given language to consider on that, but that to me is different language. No opinion on that one way or the other, but that's different than that sort of catch-all language that you sometimes or fairly commonly see in codes, where if communities know there are some projects that just got approval, they're okay with those projects, they have added language that says site plans approved, you know, by the effective date of the code or with a look back period. You know, you can craft that and you can include that in your codes. I've seen it plenty of times. That's why you have the building permit language in there. And that's in the non-conforming use section. So basically it applies to anybody that might have pulled a building permit for something that now might not be in compliance. It says that those building permits are solid and you can move forward. So it's up to you on that. So that's just my 2 cents on, or not my 2 cents. That's my language option that you have that we could, you know, add language in the code on some aspects of this. I don't know, you know, the Ridge Road project is just out of my wheelhouse in terms of where you are on that. On the kennels, I am not familiar with what was adopted or the new law that's referred to in the comments. I'm not familiar with that. It sounds like it just was adopted. And does not go into effect, it sounded like, until 2025. So I don't know what's in that. So I have no idea what is not in compliance in terms of what was written into the draft to suggest. So if somebody has that, whatever that language is and wants to, while I was sitting here, I was trying to find that. It doesn't leap out at me. So I would need just some direction on what that is exactly referring to. But I will say this, if there's anything in our code draft that is less restrictive than state law applies. So yes, it might be conflicting, but that happens, you know. I don't know if that will be. Also, if this does not go into effect till 2025, certainly you would want something on the books between now and then anyway. But again, I don't know what's being referred to, so I can't comment on how it conflicts or what my thoughts are on it until somebody forwards something to me so that I can look at that. But certainly if there is something that should be considered, that's fine. I just am not familiar with it. Obviously, this was all drafted before that was adopted. So, you know, but you could certainly be assured that if there's state regs that go into effect and your zoning is less compliant, folks would just need to meet the state regs. If yours is more strict, then you can have more strict laws. You just can't have less. You know, you can't enforce something less strict than state regs. So that's my 2 cents there. Again, without having a clue of what's been adopted by the state. Sounds like it was something in ag and markets. I did a quick search and I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to be looking for. So.
Thank you, Monica.
We want to hear from Bill.
Yeah, I want, yeah.
Bill?
Bill on the solar
Yeah,
part of
here.
it.
Hi, Bill?
You still there?
Hi, Bill? Somebody stepped away. Well, I was sent that law by Margaret Munch, and I'm trying to find it. Once I find it, I will forward it to the board there. What does everybody else do about this?
Well, I would like to hear from Bill about the solar roofs.
John.
What's that?
Okay, what are we doing here? Do you want to hear from Eric about this too?
Pardon?
Yeah, Eric, what do you think?
I get asked about whether it makes sense to include some more specific provision about the grant. And I think that it's not necessarily required with respect to that. And I was trying to look quick at specific language there. I couldn't find it. But if you want specific language, we can certainly draft something that says pay for any projects or site plan approval. Whole law applies to that. Perhaps like, so that that's specified.
But that's going to require, and that's fine if that's what we want, but that's going to require us another month, correct?
It is.
We have to rewrite the law.
It is, we have to make some changes, at least the way I understand. it.
Right.
Doesn't just have to back to county.
No,
This is the. Hello, Bill. It sounds like he's driving and we just got cut off. We just got cut off.
They were issued, 7 projects were issued as, but used for that.
So the fundamental question is, we've heard from the public, we've got some more questions. Send it back to committee. Do we want to take a vote tonight?
Question, if we do delay it and change the law a little bit, what's that do for the public? Really, put it out there
yeah,
again,
you just do it.
public hearing and everything.
But the secret now, practically, at least from what I've heard, that. The issues raised, certainly addressed quickly, so that we can get it on for the next one, or chooses. I look at the law with respect to the issues that were raised today. There seems to be some fairly broad authority to have kennels and animal shelters contained in the new law. The way it's drafted, you want to look at it.
Based on what Monica just shared with us, whatever law, whatever we put in there, it gets superseded by the state anyways. in 2020.
Mary Ann?
Oh,
Yes.
there we are.
Mary Ann,
Bill,
can you hear me?
can you hear me, Bill?
Okay, yes, I am on the move. And before I lose you, I would like to suggest that you table this matter to consider the written comments that were submitted so that we can address those formally, specifically with EDF.
Okay. So what, you want to table it, send it back to committee to look at all the comments and
Honestly, I think
stuff?
that makes sense to do that.
Based on.
Based on his recommendation, yeah.
It's only another 30 days, Jim.
You would not have to do another public hearing because not unless they're, well, maybe on the kennel thing, if you decide something on that, because this is, I would not consider these to be substantive. These are not adding a in my opinion, that would not require another hearing, but that's
The
up to you.
The question is whether or not these changes would or should apply to this ORES process that's ongoing at the moment.
Correct.
And only for that issue.
But if we're making changes to a law that's so close, excuse me, Madam Mike, if we're making changes to the law that's so close, I would feel better having another public hearing. You know, because this is big, but.
Also, actually, on that front, you do have to also hold one on the public. You did not do a public hearing on the planning board amendment, did you? Because you're amending chapter 9. That needed a public hearing as well. All local laws need a public hearing.
Yeah.
So you actually have to do that one too.
Legal notice, no. Okay.
That's
all
a-
right.
Yep. So you should tack that on for next time. That does not require the zoning blurb and all of that, because that's your separate chapter 9 on planning board. So it's just a straight public hearing notice. You don't have to do the fanfare of the zoning blurb and all of that.
Okay, so it sounds like we're tabling this. Jim, you all right?
Yeah, I was a young man when we started this process. Look at me now.
I can send, if you want to include any other catch-all language outside of the Ridge Road Solar Project, but for anything else, I can circulate the some other language that if you wanted to include that for other types of site plan approvals, whatever you can, so you can contemplate that. As long as you're contemplating this other, I can circulate that to you.
Sure. All right. I'm gonna do this by formal motion that we table this. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Whew, okay. Oh, that was fun. Okay, so number 3, extension of the moratorium on the.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. So number 4, we're taking off because we extended the moratorium. All right, number 5, pilot consent resolution with Grass River Solar. You all have a copy of that resolution, and we did one already. I think this is number 2. So this is the pilot agreement, and it actually shows the actual amounts that we'll be getting from this pilot agreement on an annual basis. Does anybody have any questions about this pilot consent resolution? I'm certainly not gonna read it, it's pretty long. So what we need to do is do a roll call vote on this. So I need a motion to pass this resolution. John? Who was that? John? All right, you want a second? All right, any further discussion or questions or concerns? Okay, so Heidi, if you could do a roll call vote.
Jim,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes,
John,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
all right, that's carried. All right. Thanks for everybody's work on that one. All right, the next item is the Minor Street Road project bids. Those 2 were also in your packet, and I'm gonna defer it to the Highway Committee. I believe you went to the opening of the bids. So do either of you want to talk to them?
Yeah, open bids last week. This proposal, we had 2 bidders. Shade Contracting and the other one was Blue.
TJ.
And TJ. And the low bid was $358,700. That would be for all of the drainage work that needs to be done, the widening of the roadway that needs to be done. The only thing that would be left, once this project is completed, is for the town to do paving. And that wouldn't be done until next year. And we would make that part of our regular paving plan for the year. The thing it will do is that normally we've been paving at 20 foot of width. This one here will be paved at 30 foot of width, so we'll take a little more of the fun. Yeah, I mean, this is again part of a long process that, you know, we were told to pass something that would never happen because, first of all, the power poles were going to be an issue. We thought that it would end up maybe costing us not to do it because of the cost, but grid moved the poles at no expense to the town of Canton whatsoever. So, you know, we had that going for us, but yeah. At the recommendation of the Trails Committee a while ago, recommended that this part of it be done because that is our summer recreation area. So it'll take it from the village, downtown village, right up through to Taylor Park. In order for that to be completed, St. Lawrence University had to do some work. They already completed that. The village of Canton had to do some work. They've already completed their part of that. But of course, the town of Canton had certainly the largest part of it. It's just under a mile.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and so all the culverts will get changed, that need to be changed, the drainage will be done. And hopefully by 4th of July next year, they will complete it.
Probably a little later than that by the time all the striping is done. but
Oh,
Shooting for 2024.
These are bigger paintbrush.
Yeah.
So again, a grant was written for this specific project, and I believe it's 265,000.
well,
I
it's,
have to
there's
double
about,
check that number.
there's about 248,000
48.
that's available for it. So, you know, it's about 100,000, but again, keep in mind, you know, and that happens, it's not something that's unusual in grants. When you look at doing something, if you look at the cost of what it's going to be to do that, you know, the 250,000 was expected to do the work. A lot of change. And so with inflation and everything else that's gone on, it's not unrealistic that it's 100,000 what we expected. And we got money in the fund balance of construction to do it. And our original plan was to take the money from fund balance, do the project, pay for it, and then we'll get, when we get our reimbursement, we'll put that back. I mean, that's, the fund balance is there to do these types of projects. I mean, we're not just gonna set on that money like we do some other ones.
Oh, you're such a jerk.
So I would recommend that we agree to accept the bid.
Did you want to mention what the other bid was, the amount?
385,000. One was 385 and the other one was 358. And they were both 700. That's interesting.
All right, so are you making a motion? You said you recommend, but are you making the motion?
I can do that.
Okay.
I didn't know if anybody else wanted to weigh in on it before the motion got made.
where we can do that in first and second, and then we'll do it for the discussion.
I make a motion. that town board approve, contracting with Sheehan to do the drainage part of this. Whatever. We're in Delaware.
358,700,
Pardon?
358,700.
Actually, it's gonna be, it'll be 3,000, be 3,000 less than that, because, it's there's a
There
provision.
was a clause in it for,
Credit to.
to have it bonded. As Brooke said, to kind of weed out maybe some contractors that you might be a little nervous about. That didn't happen at all. So you can waive the bond, which would be $3,000, which will lower it to $355,700.
So, yeah, actually, 350.
So that 350.
And I would recommend that you waive that.
Sheehan put that provision in that they would lower their bid to $355,700 if they didn't have the bond. TJ Fiacco didn't put that provision in.
Okay, so there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by John. Any further discussion? Questions? We will have to do a budget amendment, once this all gets rolling, to, put that amount in the budget. And then take the money out of the fund balance to cover that. And, what I've been doing with Lee is the minute we get a good chunk of money spent, we submit right away. Because we want that money back.
And the work has to be completed no later than November 15th of this year.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Carried. Okay. So, Stephen, will you be contacting them regarding that and, just let us know what we need to do for them. Okay?
Yep.
All right, great. Sustainability Committee. Bob, you put this on.
I did. Actually, in light of what Kathy has already said, I'd like to talk to you first before we do anything with this, so can we table this for tonight?
It's your item, so.
Yeah. So if we can table this tonight, that'd be great, and we can talk.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's that? I don't think so. No. So town clerk's annual board review. This is an annual thing that has to happen in my office and then for the town clerk and tax collector. And Randy and Jim, you did the review, so would you like to report on that? That was a while ago. That was about a month ago. Yeah.
We completed the review. Heidi did a very good job of presenting the stuff that was asked for in the review, and as it said in their comments, most of the stuff that based on the questions asked and the information provided, everything appeared to be in order.
Okay. So that's informational purposes for the record. Next item is court security, Village of Norwood MOU and hourly rate increase. So we finally have an MOU, thanks in there for all the work on that. And it was a lot. It was a lot because we've never done this before, right? So this MOU is in Norwood now, and we need to y'all know about it and what it's about. So we're just waiting for them to return it. And does anybody have a problem if we just sign it and it? Okay, so once that gets going, unless there's a salary, we'll be stepping down, and we appreciate all his work as a court constable, and then we'll move forward with this one. But another request that was made is we're currently paying $21.53 an hour. It's anywhere between 3 to 5 hours per court day. There was a request to increase that to $24 an hour. I did a short poll of the board, but in order to make that change, we need to do it formally. So is there a motion to change the hourly rate for court security from $21.53 to $24 an hour. John, second? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. And that is carried. That's, the budget calendar, you all got a copy of it. That's for informational purposes, and it is subject to change depending upon, you know, what's going on. I have started the process, packets have been given to the departments, and then we'll go from there. Any questions on the budget calendar? There will be 2 working sessions, special board meetings to work on that. So, it hardly seems possible that we're at that point.
Should I make my request here?
You can, I'll tell you what I said to the departments. You can ask for whatever you want.
Doesn't mean you get it, right?
That's correct.
But the departments have been very good about their money. I mean, we started this process, you know, and they have the data now. 4 years of data. This is what we budgeted. This is what we spent. And everybody's done a pretty good job. Yeah, so, all right. The next item is public comment. Any public comment? With that being said, we do need a motion to go into executive session for personnel and for potential litigation. Your motion? I make that motion. Is there a second? Second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Carrie, we're gonna go upstairs to do this.
Warmer out there.
Is it cold that much?
Thanks, everybody. Have a good